I'm on my way to a really special part of Sri Lanka. This is Kataragama, a spiritual centre where Sri Lankans come to worship and make wishes by smashing coconuts. Last time I was here, I made a wish that one day I would return. Well, today I'm giving thanks for making that wish come true. As pilgrims pass through this area, there's things that they have to pick up. In this colourful store, one thing is vital, and that's kaludadal. Hello. How are you? These bits of jelly with cashews and spices and everything in them are a must on your way to Kataragama. And try this one. Tastes so good. Chewy, flavoursome, and a little bit oily, but that's all right. Can I try, please? Sri Lankan kaludadal is considered so important that professional kaludadal cooks are called into people's homes during ceremonies and important events. It's a very particular skill. So, we have got sugar that's been taken beyond dark caramel. It's actually nearly burnt, but he's just saved it in the nick of time. Coconut cream, sugar, and rice flour. And now the process begins. And this thing has to set like jelly. It can't be too hard and it can't be too soft, and it's very expensive to make. What's happening now is it's really starting to congeal and the rice flour is starting to cook through it. There's a few more things that need to be added. Next is semolina, and then some cashew nuts, which I'm breaking in half, exactly half I've been told, and also some cardamom pods, and that'll add a really nice flavour. It's been about an hour, and the whole consistency has changed. There's a shine coming out of it. It means that the coconut oil is breaking free of the coconut milk. Next, sago. The sago will be a thickener, but it's also sort of adds a bit of gelatinous texture to it as well. I just got a waft of it then. Cardamom, coconut oil, and the sweetness of the sugar. So now it's pretty much finished. It's got to go into the tray. The oil's coming out of it. It's like a jelly, really, really firm. The sago's sort of set it, and now they're just going to pat it all down so that it ends up nice and smooth. It has a beautiful glossy finish on it. Oh, could I lick the spoon? That's a spoon's a lick. It's going to be really, really hot. It's still crackling. You can hear it crackling. I'm going to try some. Eat that one, kids. It's sweet. The sago's crunchy. The cardamom through it is perfect, aren't they? Well done, chef. Yeah. Another dish that is uniquely Sri Lankan is the hopper. Now, you may remember that I attempted to cook hoppers in candy. Don't laugh. Hey! That's a shocker. But I didn't have much success. Well, today I've enlisted the help of an expert. Okay, I'm in this lovely lady's house who has allowed us to come into her kitchen, which reminds me very much of the kitchen that my grandmother had, all the way down to a little stool that I used to sit in and watch these ladies work. Big grinding stone, big black open fireplace. With this lady's help, I'm going to make hoppers. And the recipe is quite interesting. It includes bread. This is kind of like the yeast, the dough, the starter. Now, the next stage, and these are all things that are available, coconut. The coconut water itself will react with the bread to set it off. So you keep all the water. Later on, we're going to put milk in as well, so you can use the whole coconut. Now, the idea is that you just bust this up and just stir it around. Ah, she's gone and got me a special piece of cloth so that I can make this hopper pan perfectly cured. Now, we'll do that later, but this is Mrs. Amarasekara, and she has kindly lent us her house and her beautiful black kitchen. Mix the flour. So, I've got this really thick batter, are they? Are they? Yeah? The other thing that you need with this is time, about 6 hours. So it's a good thing to make before you go to work and hopefully have it in your house, nice and turn the heater on or something if you're in a cold climate, and try and get the humidity out, because the humidity is what's going to really make this thing react. It's as simple as that, really. But as I wouldn't want to keep this lady waiting for 6 hours, early this morning, I prepared a batch. So what you do on the last stage is then to this thick batter now that has pretty much doubled in size, add coconut milk to make yourself a pancake-style batter. Do you want us to have a look? Stir it more. It's always good to have the old hands. You know, these are the things that can't be written, they have to be shown. Right, so what we're after, thick pancake batter, or even closer to a waffle batter. Lunu? Oh, done. Little bit of salt. Always salt here, actually. Madi? Lots of salt. Okay, Hari. So it's ready to cook. That's pretty much it. The pan should be nice and hot, but not too hot. And then you need to ladle a good amount into the centre, and then swirl it around the pan so that it coats. It's like making a pancake except in a wok, so that it coats the whole pan and leaves just a little bit in the centre. And now, put on the lid. Fingers crossed. She thinks I'm mad. She's so nice. She says I remind her of her second son, and I was telling her she reminds me of my grandmother, and now she's teaching me Sri Lanka's biggest secret, so I feel very lucky. You know, it's been a search for over 20 years for this recipe, and I've finally got it. I'm very, very happy. I'm happy with the flavour. I know it's going to go crisp. So after numerous attempts, black fingers, burnt hands, and a very watchful teacher, I've learned a few things. Bash the pan before you pull it out. Make sure you've got a really nice crisp hopper. And the idea is that you end up with something like this. Should be nice and brown. Should sit up like a beautiful cup. And into this cup you can add curry, you can have an egg, you can have many other things. Bohumi Stuti, Achi, thank you so much for all your help. This is a lovely, lovely lady. The little boats come in, drop all their wares off, and these guys have a never-ending supply of fish, normally twice a day. If you want prawns, you've got to come in the morning. Some great fresh tiger prawns, and also these crabs. It's like a blue swimmer crab. So exciting. Can't wait to get into it. It's really hot, but I don't really care. Got the breeze in my back, the sun and the sea over this side, and some beautiful fish I picked up at the markets. I'm going to do mahi-mahi, cooked simply, served with a fish curry sauce from a traditional recipe with prawn and kumara rolls and a few condiments. So I'm going to get started with these beautiful sweet potatoes, also known as batala. Put them all into a pot with water and bring them to the boil. The next stage of this is cooking pancakes. Farm fresh eggs, 4 of those, some milk. It's really important to whisk the eggs up well, infuse all the milk into it, and then just add your flour, little by little. I'm also going to just put a little spoonful of oil into it. Vegetable oil is perfect because it just assists with the elasticity of the pancake itself. And then whisk and whisk. A little bit more flour. Okay, that consistency is perfect now. Show you what I mean. Nice line all the way through it. So I'm going to put that aside, and that just needs to rest. Covered and rested. Okay, next stage is now to prepare the actual spice mix that goes with the rolls. I've got a little bit of ginger, some garlic, beautiful garlic, and also a red onion. Now, some curry leaves, and a couple of green chilies, which add a really nice flavour. And then I'm going to be frying it all off. Now, what I'm going to do, just going to roughly chop the prawns so that when you eat these rolls, you're actually going to get a really nice flavour of prawn and also the texture of prawn. My pan's nice and hot, chatty's smoking, and I'm going to start cooking this paste now. So just add all of your ingredients in, nice sizzle. You want to cook them till they're translucent, the onions, so that they do dissolve, but also there's a little bit of texture left in them as well. I'm going to add my spices now, starting with fenugreek. Make sure you don't burn it, because if you burn fenugreek, it gets bitter, makes the whole dish bitter. Fennel seeds are really tasty and go quite well with fish, and you see them a lot with fish curries. Chili powder's up to you. One hint about chili powder is use the same chili powder all the time. This is roast cumin powder, and this is coriander powder. Coriander powder and fish go really well together as well. And of course salt, which I bought at the markets, right near the salt mines in Hambantota. Okay, now adding the prawns, and I'm just going to half cook the prawns because this roll will go through another process. The next thing I do, had that sweet potato ready to go now because my mix is about to go together. Sweet potato is cooked perfectly. The way you can tell is that it's firm when you push it, but it crushes. It's important that it's like that so that the texture stays when you crush it up. And I'm just going to break it into pieces, and then when I add everything else to it, I'll crush it a little bit more. But it just breaks apart really nicely. A lime, which, again, make sure there's no seeds squeezed into the sweet potato. My mix is ready, and I'm just going to add it into the sweet potatoes. Now's the time when I'm going to crush it a little bit more so that it all gets combined nicely and that the prawns are spread through the mixture. And this is going to be my roll mixture. I'll taste it in a second. Just got to make sure all the flavours are nicely balanced so that it's not too hot or not too spicy, but it looks good to me. Tasting's always a fun part. That's good. So that now gets put away, and we start to make our pancakes. And it's important to have the pan nice and hot. Hot means a quick pancake, it gets good colour on it, but it's important also not to overcook the pancake, because if you do, it'll end up really hard and brittle, you won't be able to roll it. And let it cook gently there. All right, last pancake's ready. Get some of the mixture, which by now is nice and cool, making sure you get a little bit of prawn, a little bit of everything else. Make a nice little parcel and roll it. Making sure that the ends are folded over before you get to the rolling stage. That will ensure that it holds together, okay? And now I'm going to crumb them. Firstly in flour, then in egg wash, then in breadcrumbs. Okay. I'm going to now cook and fry at the same time. And I'm going to season my pan with salt rather than season the fish. Salt's a good conductor of heat. Now, gently placing the rolls in about half a litre of oil In the meantime, my pan for the fish is getting really hot. So presentation side down first, putting the piece of fish away from you as you put it in. Right, I've got some rice, my tomato salsa, got a nice mango chutney, but with this I'm actually going to just use it as a marker on the plate rather than serve it up. Now getting my roll, and I cut the ends off. The ends are quite thick and, you know, have lots of pancake on it, so I want those off, and then just cut them on an angle so that they stand up. Now the fish is just translucent on the inside. That's how I like it. And then my rolls, serve it on the side. The curry sauce is the last stage of this dish. And my suggestion would be that when that comes to the table, you just pour it over the top, like so.
Sri Lankan food is wonderfully diverse, but you don't find much beef here, which is surprising because all over the country there are loads of buffalo herds. The reason Sri Lankans don't eat their buffalo is that they are used for dairy. Buffalo milk has half the cholesterol but twice the calcium and fat of Frisian cows, so it makes the most incredible curd, if you can get it.
Oh. Janaka. Hey, everyone. Haven't really walked into a herd of buffalo before, so should be quite interesting. Don't really know what their temperament's like, but I'm going to have a go at milking them because I love the curd so much that take my shoes off, get right into it. The way they look at you, it's just like, Okay, let's go. Maybe I should have worn my steel cap boots. I don't need the milk that much. Okay. Okay, sit there. Yeah, baby. Nah, she doesn't like me much. It's all right. Try this. Yeah, that's the beginning of buffalo curd. We'll go and see how the rest of it's made. And I've had an experience with these beautiful creatures. Yeah. Anyway, see you guys. Stage 2 of making the curd. Now, what's happening here is that this pot has to come to the boil. So the idea now is to stir it so that it basically forms a bit of a circular motion, making sure that all the milk at the bottom doesn't stick and burn. So after the milk boils, it's poured into all these pots. See the way he's sort of lifting it right up? What that's going to do is set that beautiful thick crust on it as well. So, first test, turn it upside down, making sure it doesn't fall out. And then when you serve it to yourself or someone else, make sure you get a nice piece of crust with it as well. Some palm treacle, lots of it. Taste time. It is Sri Lanka's dessert. The acid from the curd just comes through so beautifully, and what cuts it is this beautiful treacle. It's a little bit fermented, so it's got a sweetness, but also a slight sort of fizz to it. It just makes the perfect dessert. I love it.
And now for something that I've been excited about for ages. I'm taking all this treacle and curd to a group of kids that I can't wait for you to meet. This is the Mahara Buddhist School. Many of these kids lost their parents in the Boxing Day tsunami. A lot of you donated money through my restaurant, and together with the MJF Foundation, we all built this school hall. I really didn't know what to expect when I arrived. Then the kids put on a show that they had been rehearsing for weeks. Okay, time for treats. These gorgeous, happy kids have very basic lives. Some of them are so poor that a treat like curd and treacle only happens once or maybe twice a year.
Let them eat. Start eating. Okay. Yes. Pleasure. Everybody was waiting until somebody said they can eat. And this school doesn't get many visitors at all. So it's always heartwarming to come back here and see how these kids are going, see how the school's going, and just give a little bit. It's not much, and it's easy to do, and feels good. Good?
You can see what an enormous difference a small amount of charity makes. Our donation of $20,000 built that school hall. And a visit with treats has given me one of the best days of my life.